Hey YouTube, welcome to my animal house. We're out here in the garage and bang, I got another DIY project. This is called heat tape. We use it a lot in the reptile community. It comes in a lot of different sizes. I've looked it up. You can get this in 3" right here. You can get it 3, 4, 6, 12 and 21, I believe, from the place where I got mine from. So it comes in a lot of variety of sizes. A lot of the times we use it for belly heat in the rack systems that we build, or you could use it for back heat on a tank. Just as long as you put up the right thermometer or a thermostat to it, you can use it to heat just about anything if you do it correctly. So in this video, I'm going to go over all kinds of different ways, or not all kinds, but 3 different ways to hook up heat tape, and some safety tips and that kind of thing, and go over how you use it and what you kind of do. And I'll show how to hook up a thermostat to it, and we'll just show you different ins and outs of using heat tape. So we'll get on to this video. I'll move all this, we'll get to a different angle, and I'll show you how to hook it up. Alright everybody, here we go. This first method I'm going to show you is the old solder method. This is the first way that I've seen it, and there's all kinds of this different the heat tape. There's FLEXWATT. There's each company that makes it stamps their own name on it and all that. So you know, it all depends on where you get it, on which kind you get. Just kind of research. I guess there's a really cheap one and there's a thicker one, and this is the thicker one. So this is the one that I'm going to use. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to solder it. And basically, whenever they use this heat tape, there's bigger chunks. These are just little demonstration pieces that I have from leftover bad measurements. So usually you just get an extension cord, any kind of work, and it's got the plug-in on the end. Just, you know, snap the plug-in off and then just strip the wires accordingly with a wire stripper, to where you can, you know, you have your 2 different wires so you can get to each side of the brass contacts. So as what we're doing with this to begin with is there's a plastic coating right here. So as what we'll do is just usually use this, and you just kind of rub it back and forth until you get that plastic to break away from the brass right there, or the copper. I think it's copper, I'm not sure. Yeah, and then just kind of get it good and hot right there to where you can see the copper. And then I usually just take a little knife right here and just kind of scrape, you know, where it's at, to make sure there's no plastic on there. And then once you scrape, you can see the little plastic builds up. You know, as soon as you scrape that away, and then you're good. So is what I usually do, is how I start off with this, is I usually just put a dab of solder on here and on the threads of the wire itself. So let's get a little dab here. Just make a little circle, yep. And then just connect this. Oops. Just get some on the wire, just where you got a little lump like that, to where it makes this part a little easier. So then as soon as all you have to do is just meet the 2 together, and then just get it hot and you'll suck. And then you can add a little bit on top of it too if you want, to make sure that it gets good and soldered and that kind of thing. Okay. Oh, that's not the best soldering job, but this isn't the best method anyway, but then it's on there. But the biggest thing is with this, alright, the biggest thing with this, remember, is, oops, kind of kicked myself there. The biggest thing with this is just remember that this is a live contact. This wire doesn't have anything on it because it's just a demonstration wire that I'm using, so there's no electrical current to it. But the biggest thing is you got to remember that this is all live, because you have this open, and the ends here where you cut it off, that is gonna, you got to make sure that this piece is a little big, but make sure to cover these ends just like that, and just kind of fold it over to where you have you make sure that, you know, there's no way that there's, you know, just for safety. It's going to be hard for something to hit both sides, but just cover it up no matter what, and cover up these as well. What it is, grab some tape and just kind of fold it around, and just make sure that you cover everywhere that you had a connection. And then you can run this, and oops, sorry about that, and then you can run this and be safe, and you don't have to worry about anything touching it or anything like that. And then you just hook your thermostats directly to this, but I'll show you that here in a little bit. But I'm going to show you a different method. A lot of people will use rivets, so let's go to that. Alright everybody, here we go. We're going to show you how I go about using the rivet technique. A lot of people will use a hole punch which is here. But I've heard and I've seen a lot of people say that the hole punch leaves it a little bit too loose, so they'll kind of drill right here. And the reason why is because on the tape, as you can see right here, there's a little, where the brass is, there's an opening, see, to where once you drill it and then you put on your end, you can use any of these kinds of ends. There's all kinds of different ones with plastic and whatever size wire that you use. It's up to you. Just make sure it's this hoop. So then once you get your hole, you can slide this in there, and then you're inside of there, and then you're actually connected to the copper that's right there, and it's a full connection. So a lot of people will drill this, but I sometimes find it to where it's like it'll snag sometimes, and I don't like it, so I'll just grab the heat gun. See the hole right here? I'll grab anything with a hole in it, and just use the heat gun, just poke right through it. Yep, just like that. Then all you have to do is just put your connection through there and meet up with that hole, and then the soldering iron, the round one right there, these things fit right in here. So, and it's snug, and then you just you get the appropriate size for whatever rivet you're using, and just put it in there and just snap it. Usually takes 2 squeezes. Oops. Made me a 3. All right, so then we're connected. The only thing that and it's the same thing with the tape. So yeah, before I tape it though, the only thing that I don't like about this, depending on where you're using it, these things stick out a bunch. So, you know, you are getting a good connection in there. It's good and solid. They're not going to move. You know, and you put on your tape like you normally would. I'll just do the one side, but, you know, cover the rivet. And like with this one, I'm going to use a whole nother piece of tape to where I can, to get all that covered too as well, to where it's good and covered. And then you do that on both sides, and then you have a good connection. But like I said, these right here, you could probably trim it off with some snips maybe to make it smaller. Hopefully it'll hold up tight, but that's another way that I've seen people do this. So then I'm going to show you the last way, which is with eyelets, and this is the way that I think is the best. It's this, it scrunches it down really thin to where you can use it, and I think it's the way to go, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So let me get set up. All right, before we get to this third and final method that I'm going to show you, I want to talk a little bit more about the heat tape. This piece that I have here is a 12-inch piece, and they're marked. Usually on these rolls there's dots on each side, and that'll give you, they usually give you in foot increments. You could either buy in a bulk roll that's big, or you can buy it in like 10 feet, 6 feet, whatever your project is. They pretty much accommodate you to however you know, pretty much per foot is the lowest increment you can buy. So remember, these tags on here, so you can measure it out pretty good if you need a foot per piece. You know, it's really easy. And another thing is you cannot, when you cut this, you can cut through this part, the copper, but you cannot cut the black. So make sure to go through a clear piece. So here, let me show you something here. It's a little big, but this is what I have handy. So what I do is sometimes I'll just take just an angle iron like this and just kind of get it where you want it, and you can draw yourself a line or anything. I don't know if it'll show it with the pencil or not. Yeah, you can get yourself a little baseline to follow or something, but just make sure to stay in between the black. Just cut it in there, and then you'll be safe, and make sure to always cover the ends. So yeah, and then if you remember to do that, it's all about safety with this stuff. All right, everybody, here we are to the last and the final way. When I bought this, the flex tape, they had a couple. It was just the heat tape connection kits, so I bought those, and it comes with these eyelets, and it already had some tabs already connected to it, so that made it really convenient for me to where. But you know, these are really cheap. You can get them at any hardware store, and you just clamp them right on there. It's no big deal. But this is like the fastest way that I've found to put this stuff on. You can measure this as much as you want. You just kind of estimate, oh, I need a dot there and I need a dot there. But on this one, you can use the hole punch. It makes it a whole lot easier. So just go in there, make sure you don't go too far, but just hole punch it. Oops. On both sides, and then bang. Then all you do is you got to spread that apart just like that. That's the way it comes. Then you just slide it inside of here just like before, where you can see it lines up inside of there. And as soon as you do, you just grab one of these eyelets that I'm going to use, and I'll show you a close-up of these. You take the bigger end, is what I do usually, is just put it through the bottom, and then the little short one, like I said, I'll show you that here in a second. And then there are these little pliers, and I do have a set of these from my work, but they don't really accomplish exactly what we need to do with this, and I'll show you why. You just kind of set the bottom in there, oops, and then you just kind of get it started. But when you squeeze it, you squeeze as hard as you can, no matter what. And look, it never does really pinch. It never gets, I mean, it holds it pretty tight, but it doesn't get flat. So is what I do is I just take a pair of pliers and then just squish it. And as soon as you do that, it squishes it right down to the plastic on both sides, and that is thin. Look at that. Whoo, that's sweet. It's sticking up a little bit. Let me get it on this side. Yep. Just squish it and then bang. And like I said, you don't even need these, because I'll show you on this side. See if I can get this in here. Get yourself started. So get the long one through. Get your short one. Get your wire where you need it, and then I just use pliers. Just take the whole thing with the pliers and just squish it. Squish it as hard as you can. And bang. It holds it just like the other one. So that connection is solid and they're flat. Look how flat that is to the table. So I think this is definitely the way to go. And in these kits, they even provide you with this tape here. My cord's all flopping around. Let me grab that. So then you just grab one of these off of here, and then you can cover the whole back. Oops. Leave enough to cover your wire. And you just fold it over. And then that connection is solid. The biggest thing with this, and the hazard is leaving any of these connections open. You know, the ends right here, and these ends, you want everything to be covered, so there's no possible way that any metal can touch it, because that's where a lot of the hazards of using this stuff comes from, is just the lack of correct preparation and you know, applying it correctly. So as soon as you get that, and then the reason why, because this is for a project, and then yep, and then you have your plug-in on this side. So I'll set up one more time, and I'll get you on here, and I'll show you how that usually that they tape it down. They use this foil tape. You can get it in any Ace or Lowe's or Home Depot, any of them places sell it. And then I'll show you how to set that up, put a thermostat to it, explain how that works, and then we're done with this video. All right, thanks for watching. All right, everybody, this is that piece of the heat tape that we did the rivets with, or not the rivets, the eyelets. And so this is the foil tape that most people use. It's made by 3M. You can get it. They use it for like heating and air conditioning, ducting, stuff like that. It's really easy to find at one of the hardware stores. But usually they'll just tape. You know, most of the people that you have a rack or something, and it depends on, you know, what size and how your tub's going in there. But they just tape it down like this. And like with this, always leave like a little 1/4 inch or something here at the end. Don't pull it all the way off here, because if it folds back and it touches itself, you'll never get it back off. So just kind of gauge where you're going to put it, you know, and where you got that little bit of extra. Oops. Right there, it's fine anyway. This is just demonstration anyhow, and then you can, you know, pull off that last little piece, and then it's a lot easier to lay this stuff down. So basically, all you get, once you have this, and then this is plugged into this, so don't plug this in until you have a thermostat, because this will just keep heating up. It doesn't know what to do. So that's where a thermostat comes into play, and this is a thermostat. This one's made by Inkbird. I won it in an actual Instagram giveaway. You can hit them up on Instagram, Inkbird. They have all kind of giveaways for different electronics, and I use this one for, like, you know, if I have a quarantine or something like that, or if I just need to heat something real quick. I use it all the time, and it's pretty handy. And all of them will have a probe, and that's the big part. This is what you're going to attach to this, and there's somewhere to plug in your device, and then the device itself gets a plug-in as well. So this one has actually an input for twice. This is where the heat tape would get plugged into, is in here. So basically now it's going to read off of this. You know, this is going to heat up, and then you can attach this to this. A lot of people will just underneath or over it, just somewhere where it's out of the way. There's even people that, because, you know, when you have a tub, it's over it like this. You only want about half the tub anyway. This is just a demonstration piece. But once you have it on here, you can put your probe here, or I've seen people even drill a hole into here, and you can put it, you know, just zip tie it down in there, however, to where there's no sharp edges. And then you can actually get a precise reading on what it is in here, not really here. But it's up to you. For this demonstration, we'll put it right down on here. So just a little bit of that foil tape like before, and then just kind of put it on there to where it's snug. And then, just make sure this cord's out of the way. So then when you have your tub here, and then you just set this for whatever degrees, like a ball python, you want their hotspot to be 90. So you just kind of, 89, 90, whatever you want. You just set it for that. I'm not going to go over the settings because they're all kinds of different thermostats do different, have different settings. So you can figure that part out. Or ask me in the comments, and if I can help you, I will. So then once you have it like this, get this plugged in, and you just use a heat gun. These are the, they're pretty cheap on Amazon. You can get them, and as soon as this heats up, and you tell it 90 degrees. Once it gets to 90 degrees, it shuts on and off. It'll go within a degree, and then you can, and you just hit it on here, the little laser light inside of here, or however you want to gauge it, and then it'll tell you, like right now, it's just because it's not turned on. It's 84 right there. So, and that's how you can use heat tape to, and you can use it like if you have an enclosure, you can put it on the back side for like back heat. This is belly heat. You could use probably even, depending on your enclosure, put it on the top so you have overheat. It just depends on how you use it. Just make sure to always cover up all the connections. There's no electricity, so this is no big deal. You just kind of put it to there, and that's how you use heat tape with a thermostat, and 3 different ways on how to hook it up. So, but the key is a lot of people will tape this. You can use this stuff for, like I said, heating and all that kind of stuff. You can heat your incubators with this. There's all endless ways you can think of to heat things with this heat tape. But a lot of people will put the foil tape down. I have a different method that I'm going to try when I'm building. I'm going to turn a monster fridge into an incubator, and bang, I'll put a little photo of that here. And then, so keep an eye out for that video and that technique on how I'm going to attach the heat tape inside the incubator. I think it may work and it may not, but I'm going to try it out and we'll see. So look forward to that video, and thanks for watching this one. If you have any questions or anything on how to use heat tape or any of the methods that I use, please in the comments, just let me know. Shoot me a comment and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And we'll get it resolved for you, or if this helps you, let me know. So until next time, take care, stay wild, and keep your critters warm.